What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for some more reaction videos for you guys today, and we're going to be looking at Klinsmann and those comments made after the disastrous Korea semi-final at the Asia Cup. A lot of people, rightly so, very angry with Klinsmann, not only for the comments made, but also just for the way he conducted himself throughout the tournament, the tactics being deployed or the non-tactics being deployed in the tournament. So let's go and see how
smiles, those dreaded smiles.
Just don't even talk about it.
He was smiling in his press conference as well.
Don't even talk about it.
He was smiling in his presser.
We're gonna look at the way the internet reacted to these Klinsmann comments, and we'll start off with Fighting Stripes Football saying Klinsmann says he will fly back to California next week and rest before heading to Europe and meet the Korean national team players. The K-League season starts in less than 1 month, and there's obviously a video there of Klinsmann in his press conference.
What's he done to deserve going back to California? Get back to work, Jurgen. Apparently he refused, well, I'm sure we'll get into it, but apparently he doesn't go and watch the Korea players.
Yeah, it's something that we spoke about during the tournament. It's just like he has no interest in going to look at the local teams play, looking at local talent, up and coming Korean players. Apparently he said as well, like, he's just going to go to Europe and check in on Heung-min Son, Kim Min-jae and Kangin Lee and not even like care about anyone else.
It's interesting here because I was just reading some quotes from Gaël Clichy. He was saying that he's a coach at the under-21 France level. He said when he played South Korea under-21s, they were one of the only teams he's ever faced who have like multiple players who are like who use both feet, and they're like they have unbelievable talent. So like Klinsmann should be taking advantage of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mourinho's even mentioned as well about the emergence of Asian football and the upcoming players and the young players coming through. He was particularly talking about Japan, but he was also talking about Koreans as well. So you got to look at these kind of players, especially if you're national team manager, like you should be focusing on that more than anything else, because everyone knows about Heung-min Son, everyone knows about Kangin Lee, everyone knows about Kim Min-jae. You need to be finding the up and coming talent.
You don't need to be watching Son to know whether to pick him or not.
Exactly. Exactly. Steve Hand says Klinsmann on whether he could step down. I'm not planning to do anything. I'm planning to analyze this tournament, go back to Korea and talk with the federation on what was good, what wasn't so good. There was a lot of good stuff we saw. This is a team growing. I mean, what good stuff did we see? We saw last-minute goals that got you out of trouble. That was the only good stuff we saw.
They could ask him why he attacked as well. It'd be the same answer. I'm not planning to do anything. That's probably what happened during the tournament for Jurgen Klinsmann. I think. Look, they did get to the semis, so I guess they do deserve a bit of credit for that. But like it was just the way they played. Everyone can see it. It's not about where they got and where they were in the tournament. The performances were not good throughout the whole tournament.
Klinsmann was nothing
clear as day.
I know Klinsmann was the manager, but he had nothing to do with them getting to the semi-final. They got there not in spite of him. You know what I mean?
I think if you could just sum up Klinsmann in one quote, I'm not planning to do anything, that would probably be the quote. I think it perfectly encapsulates what Klinsmann does for the Korea team.
It's just so frustrating, though, because like they were clearly, like in terms of personnel, looking at the men in the squad, so much better than everyone that they faced in the tournament. And they just struggled past games if they did get in through any games.
And they're talking about the quote here that was he's quote tweeting, says when he was talking after the Jordan game, says Jordan deserved to win. I told our team this is about one-on-one battles, but Jordan won almost every one-on-one battle against us. Then we got better, but obviously when you can see goals, there are mistakes that are made. I mean, when you're talking about playing against Jordan, mate, you didn't have one shot on target. You can't be talking about mistakes on one-on-one battles. You had no shots on target. And if you're losing one-on-one battles to a team like Jordan, that's got to be because you didn't set up your team right and you didn't motivate the team. Like, clearly they're not playing for you then, if that's the case.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually surprised he's not sacked by now. Like, he should be sacked already. Like, why is he still in the job? It makes no sense whatsoever. The KFA need to, they as well need to take some blame as well. Why Klinsmann is still in this job. Trey Talk says, exactly my point. This was quote tweeting something saying, a huge problem for the national team is when the defense, this side's biggest issue, plays exclusively in Korea and Asia, except for Kim Min-jae. Not doing a detailed scouting of your defense pool cripples player selection abilities. Cha must scout more defenders in person. And then it was quote tweeted saying, exactly my point. Defense is what's keeping South Korea from realizing its true potential as a footballing nation. A national team manager should be trying to unearth hidden gems, players to fit their philosophy, instead of off to Europe to scout players we already know plenty about. And that's exactly what we said before. But
and also,
you saw in that last game, the clear problem was that defense. I mean, they were cut open every single time Jordan came forward.
And it's absolutely right, because you look at the back line, Kim Tai-hwan is 33. Lee Ki-jae is like 30, 33, 32 as well. The centre-back that they used instead of Jung to partner Kim Min-jae, and when Kim Min-jae was out as well, was Kim Young-won. He's like 33. So clearly there's an aging backline there, and the only good one who came out of the tournament credit was Seol, who's like 22, 23.
Yeah.
So clearly they need to start getting some young defenders in, and they shouldn't be relying on these old heads who clearly aren't cutting it.
Yeah, it's just lazy. It's pure laziness from Klinsmann and the scouting department of the Korean national team. Next one is from Steve Hand saying Klinsmann is reportedly paid $2.2 million a year by the KFA. He was supported by a 35-man support staff. That is Korea's biggest staff ever at a tournament. And their data analysts and scouts handpicked by Klinsmann, yet not one complete performance from Korea in the tournament. And that was quote retweeted again by Fighting Stripes Football, saying one word comes to mind: incompetence. Having such a support staff present at the biggest ever provided by the KFA, not getting any results is mind-boggling. We can't say that the KFA isn't backing Klinsmann. The clear question is why Jurgen, of all coaches, gets this support. And exactly spot on, like as Klinsmann, as much as I love him as a player, as much as he's a Spurs legend as what he did for the club in the 2 stints that he was here, what has he ever done as a manager to kind of get this support by the KFA?
He's pretty not done a great job wherever he's been, although he did get to the semis with Germany in 2006 at the World Cup. But even I've seen quotes from Lahm saying that a lot of the work they did was all physical work, and they didn't do any tactical work. And he said even before games, Lahm said he had to talk to his players about what they're going to do tactically because they didn't get any instruction from Klinsmann. So he failed at Bayern Munich. He failed at a number of jobs. He's
the American national team.
National team. I think it was there at World Cup. I don't think they did that well. So I don't know why he's got this faith as well. Apparently, he had a clause in his contract that if he gets to the semis, he gets a bonus as well. So he's lucky. But if you think about the tournament, they only won one game in 90 minutes. So even if you look at the tournament, yes, they got to the semis, but they won one game essentially.
But
the whole
at the
tournament.
level of opposition they were playing against.
They won, and they only won one game.
It's ridiculous.
And they one win. It is ridiculous.
The guy is stealing a living. $2.2 million a year for that. Yeah, for not even doing any tactical work with the team. It's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. Ball in Asia says, I'm surprised. I was expecting the Korean FA to do something in regards to the coaching position, at least give some sort of signal to Klinsmann. Well, we'll see what's going to happen. The K-League starts in March. I wonder how often we're going to see him at games. And that's quote tweeted by Charlie Beasley saying, apparently since Korea made the final, four of the Asia Cups, Klinsmann's buyout clause increased substantially. I wouldn't be surprised to see Jurgen stick around a little while longer. By that, it means just around Europe or America. Don't expect to see his face near the K-Leagues.
And that's terrible, because that's where you're going to find maybe some underrated talent, and that's what you should be looking at. That's going to be the biggest pool. There's not as much as obviously the best Korean players are going to be around Europe, like you know about them. You should be focusing on looking at the K-League, seeing you can unearth some talent people aren't talking about, and see some quality that people don't notice, and that's what's going to get you over the line, rather than just focusing on players you already know about.
That's why you should. That's earn your money. You know what I mean? Like you said, everyone knows about these handful of Korean players that are in Europe. You need to unearth these gems. You need to do your job properly.
That's where the biggest pool is, where all the Korean players are in the K-League. So if you're going to find talent, you're going to find it there, not just around Europe.
Steve Hand says, what you saw from Korea at the Asia Cup were products of decisions ultimately made by this man. When we stand in front of the media and answer tough questions, I've yet to see him at a proper press conference in ages. At what point does he take his head out the stand? And that is the guy that's running the KFA.
And he has to take responsibility, because we know Klinsmann right now needs to go. He hasn't been sacked yet. He probably wasn't the right man in the first place. So 100%, I agree. Get
Heung-min Dad to lead the KFA.
Exactly.
That's what I say. Like, what a better man to do it. Like, he saw this coming from a long way away and a long time ago as well.
the quotes before the tournament, he was very, very harsh, saying Korea don't deserve to win the tournament the way they're playing.
This guy, Heung-min Dadya, is spot on everything he does and everything he says. 100%. He is the man to lead the KFA, I'm telling you. Again, Peaceful Whale says reputation, and I think that's something he has to solve. He hasn't done anything to fix his image, and it's making it harder for himself. All in all, I hope he can fix the issue and also rebuild a brand new squad with young players. And then that's quote tweeted again from Fighting Stripes Football, saying, with all due respects to the guy who just tweeted, hoping Klinsmann can fix this issue is going to lead down a dark age for Korean football. We need different mentality. We need proactively force him and the rotten members of the KFA out. Anything else is accepting our demise. And again, I think it's spot on. Klinsmann needs to go. The leaders of the KFA need to go. This is supposed to be the golden generation of Korean football, and they're struggling to beat the Jordans of this world.
Exactly. I don't see it getting any better anytime soon based on the football I saw. He had chances to make it better during the tournament, and we saw no improvement throughout the whole tournament. Even in the group stages, we were saying, yeah, we've made it through, but we haven't looked convincing whatsoever. We haven't looked good. We're relying on Kang In Lee and Son to provide moments of quality, but other than that, there's just like no pattern to play. There's nothing to suggest anything. And then he had a chance in the knockouts, because we've seen before teams not do so well in the groups and turn it on a bit in the knockouts, but it never improved. At every stage it never improved. In fact, it probably got worse, considering Australia should have beaten them 3-0. Saudi was a 99th minute equaliser, and then Jordan was the worst of the lot, not a shot on target. So if anything, it looked like it's going to get worse, not better. Yeah,
exactly. And it's not going to change unless you change things at the top. That is essentially the situation. And then finally, this is about Kang In, and this is the Klinsmann quotes and Klinsmann in his press conference after the tournament. And you can see in the demeanor in his face, he's just scrambling, isn't he? He doesn't know what to do, what to say.
I hope it's a nervous smile and not just a smile with how happy with the job he's done, because
I don't even think he's smiling in that, is he?
Kind of half smiling.
He's trying to hold it in, is he?
Come on, just get your act together, mate. I think at this point, I don't see any point in continuing with him. I haven't been impressed with what I saw in the tournament. Look, I don't know what they were like so much before, so I don't know if it's that much worse or whatever, but I remember seeing him in the World Cup. They had a lot more fight about them. And in this tournament, as much as they got to the semis, it was nowhere near good enough, and it was massively disappointing, the level of performance they showed. And I think Jurgen hasn't had, there's nothing to fall back on when people are like, oh, give him time and stuff like that. It's like, I don't see why. As much as I love him as a person, I don't see any reason to continue with him.
But what credentials did he get the job on? This is what I want to know. Like, why are these people hiring Klinsmann for this job? Like, like I said before, what's he ever done in management? It's literally just his name. That's it.
Yeah, and he's won a World Cup as a player. That's it. I don't know.
And one saved relegation with Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah. So I don't understand the reason why the KFA haven't acted. They should just get someone who understands the K-League a bit more, has a better manager who maybe has a bit more pride in his job as well. It seems like Klinsmann just didn't really care about it.
He's there to pick up his paycheck and that's it.
Yeah, so I think they need to go in a different direction.
Yeah, absolutely.
More modern manager.
But essentially, Klinsmann ain't leaving unless he gets fired.
So make the decision.
They need to make the decision. They need to make the decision. And for me, it's not even a hard decision to make. Like, after seeing that team in that tournament, it should be a no-brainer for anyone. Absolute no-brainer. But this is where we're at. Hopefully next time we bring you a video on the South Korean national team, Klinsmann won't be in a job and we'll have a new manager. But that is it from us today. Thank you everyone for joining us today. We'll see you next time.